All the spring flowers have recently started to bloom, and it's really got me daydreaming about pretty cottagecore clothes and shirts with puffy sleeves. However, I realized that I actually don't have any clothing like that in my closet, so I decided to take it upon myself and make some of my own. I found this pattern online from a website called Mood Society, which I will link down below, and I printed it out. It came out on like 30 pieces of paper, and it prints out just like this, and then I just cut out all of the different pieces. I didn't want to spend any money on this project, so I looked through my bins of fabric that I've thrifted over the years and found this really pretty blue pattern fabric that I decided to make this Cottagecore Milkmaid style shirt out of. Like 15 years of sewing costumes and other things, I have never once used a pattern to make anything, so this is a new experience. If you guys want to make the pattern that I'm making, I will link it down below. It's actually originally a dress, however, I didn't have enough fabric lying around anywhere to make the full dress, so I'm just making the top part of it and making it into a shirt instead of a dress. And looking at like the pieces like all cut out, it is a little bit intimidating just like laid out, because normally when I sew, like in my head I know how things are going to connect with each other, but this is it's just a bunch of pieces. I don't really know. I will be following the instructions to the best of my ability, however some of them seem a little bit complicated. I literally have no idea how this part works, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. I'm going to start with pinning the bodice pieces together because that just seems like the easiest thing to do first, and I like to do the easy stuff first and work through the hard stuff later. As well as they could be. Honestly, sewing the top pieces together was extremely easy and I had zero issues. So basically I have the front of the top minus the bust, so this is kind of like the part that goes under the bust, like that. So I have the front of the top, I also have the back of the top, and then I have a second front piece and a second back piece because this is going to be the inside lining, so that you don't, well, first of all, this fabric is kind of see-through and second of all, you don't have like a bunch of ugly seams rubbing against you while you're wearing it. So I'm gonna do the smart thing, and I'm not even gonna lie to you, I don't always do the smart thing. A lot of the time I will just not bother ironing these seams down, and I know that that's bad. So in an attempt to do this the proper way, I'm gonna iron the seams down, and honestly the fabric's kind of wrinkly anyway, so I'm gonna flatten everything out, and then we're gonna start getting into sewing some of these pieces together, putting in a zipper, all the kind of intimidating stuff that I am a little nervous about, but we'll get through it. Don't do what I did and start accidentally melting your fabric because your iron's too hot. I'm still gonna use this because it's really not that bad and it's only on the inside, but yeah, don't melt your lining. My next step was to install the zipper and also attach
the lining with the outer fabric all at the same time. And usually I do find zippers to be a little bit tricky, so I do recommend really reading the instructions if you are following this same pattern. However, I recently seen on TikTok that it's a lot easier to sew your zipper if you actually just do a quick hand stitch instead of just using pins, because it just holds it in place a lot easier. And I tried that for the first time with this project and I found it helped immensely, and I highly recommend doing it. Now, I will say that this pattern calls for a hidden zipper. However, I didn't have one lying around. I had a regular zipper lying around, so I did my best to fold the fabric over top of it so that you can't really see it once it's closed. I mean, you can kind of tell that it's there, but it's good enough for me. And after the zipper is in, all you have to do is close up the other side of the fabric, starting with the outer fabric and then doing it again with the lining.
So I've officially made it past the first hurdle that I was nervous about, which was the zipper, which honestly wasn't as hard as I thought it was gonna be. I've never like sandwiched a zipper like in between two pieces of fabric before, and it was a lot easier than I was expecting. Sewing is one of those things where as long as I like take it slow and really think about what I'm doing, things go pretty smoothly. But the second you start trying to like rush and get things done on a time crunch, then things start getting out of hand. So I just ironed down the side seams that I sewed together. So this is this is what it looks like right now. Essentially, it's like an infinity sign, and I have two shirts attached at the side. So what we're gonna do right now is basically flip them together. Yeah, I'm gonna do it so that the white is on the outside, I think. Now I'm questioning. Okay, yes, no. I thought that I'd be able to do it like this and then sew the bottom and flip it inside out, but if I flip it inside out, something is not clicking in my brain here. Basically pinned the bottoms so that there's like a little like lip thing here so that when I fold it back around, the sides that are supposed to go together are together. However, where this is sewn together on the side, I couldn't go all the way around because there's this kind of weird spot where the zipper is. So I kind of just had to go as far as I could. And then when I flip it back around, I'll have to iron it and sew those other parts from the outside. Wait, I wonder if it would be better if I unzip the zipper. That might help. There it is, people. Problem solved. Always good to double check just to make sure, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that has solved the issue that I was having. Pin your pieces with the zipper open. That's all I can say. Sewing can be a bit of a mind game sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. Figuring out how all the pieces like actually go back together, it's really quite something. Okay, I'm going to sew this bottom seam and then we can flip it inside out, iron it down, and then sew a seam on the outer side of it. I decided to try on this masterpiece that I've been working on, and I have realized it's way too big. I think this is supposed to be like form fitting, so it's supposed to like, you know, not stick out this much. So what happened when I was picking my size is that it showed measurements for the waist, I think the hips and the bust, but in order to get the bust the right measurement, I had to go with a higher size to make the waist bigger. I didn't think it would be like this much bigger. I figured, oh, like I might have to cinch it in like somewhere, but like I didn't realize it was gonna be this much bigger. So I'm gonna have to do some reconstruction here, which is really sad because this is looking so good. It's like my sewing job on this I'm honestly really proud of, but now I have to take it apart and kind of sad about it. So off camera, I think I'm going to just adjust what I need to adjust. Maybe take some, I don't want to take some off the sides because I don't want to take the zipper out. So I think the fabric's either going to come from the front panels, like maybe do an inch or two off the front panels, or like the back panels or something. Yeah, hopefully after taking a bit of fabric away, it won't be this much bigger than me. Fingers crossed. the bust panel, I just went ahead and I ironed it down because I'm gonna be sewing like a tube. Like this is like folded in half. So I'm gonna be sewing like a 1-inch tube along the top because I have zero interest in sewing a buttonhole and making a little tiny string to go through it. I think that's the original pattern for the dress, is that you cut a buttonhole, 2 buttonholes actually, and then there's like a string that's supposed to go through and you can tighten them and loosen them. However, in my opinion, I think it's gonna be way easier to use elastic, and I have a bunch of elastic just sitting on hand. So yeah, I'm gonna start with that tube and then probably do a basting stitch along the bottom here and kind of pull it in tight enough so that it fits like the shape of what the dress is. That probably doesn't make any sense, but this is obviously way too long to fit the actual bust of the dress, so it's going to be like scrunched up. So the material needs to be scrunched up before I sew it on to the top. Man, we're getting so close. It's just this and then the sleeves and then it's done. I'm so excited because this has taken me a while, and whenever I sew a nice something, a nice like piece of clothing, it really makes me understand why clothes are so expensive.
To gather the ruffle on the bottom of the bust, I used a basting stitch. And if you're not familiar with this stitch, essentially it's just a looser stitch that you don't do any back stitching on so that you can pull the strings and gather the fabric along the thread. It's really easy to do, and it makes sewing the gathers onto the rest of the fabric so much easier.
Okay, I have to show you this because it looks so funny. So I have my little ruffly bit like all cinched in and I have it all pinned onto the shirt, but I haven't added the elastic to the top part yet, so the top part isn't cinched in. So like when you let it go, it just like I don't know, I just thought it looked really funny, so I thought I would show you. Essentially what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna cut the elastic to size, put it in here, and like pin it to the edges so that when I sew all along the bottom here, the elastic will also get sewn to the sleeves, and then the bust part will be done. And then we've just got the sleeves left, which I'm so excited. I think I might actually get this finished today, which is crazy. I really didn't believe myself. I really thought this was not gonna be the day, but I think it might be the day. And I'm so excited to finally have this like fresh, new, cute little ruffly shirt to wear.
After sewing the bust panel onto the bodice, I kind of just went full speed ahead with the sleeves, starting with another basting stitch at the top of the sleeve. The pattern will tell you where to start and stop your basting stitch, and I just used the same technique as I used on the bottom of the bust panel. After that, I kind of forgot to keep filming everything, but I just folded the fabric over on the bottom of the sleeve twice to create a tube for the elastic, and then I just attached it to the armhole of the bodice. And this is how the finished shirt turned out. I think this is absolutely adorable, and because I do have it fit a little bit looser, it's really quite comfortable as well. And what's nice about this is that I've customized the elastics on the arms to fit my arms so that they're not too tight, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Let me know if you guys think I should make a skirt or something to go with this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon in the next one.